celebrate with my friends, my family, my Langley family. I'm 53 years old, so I'm about half of a century of this 100 years of legacy. And I've spent about a quarter of a century of my time with NASA. And I think about all of the times that we have helped inspire that next generation through the things that we do that are hard. And growing up in a small town in Lynchburg, Virginia, I think about the community there that set me on a path for excellence. And this storied journey, this legacy that we have created that has actually changed the universe. We have probes that are at the heliopause, Voyager, where the sun has no more influence on the solar winds. And I think about the technology and the lives that have been transformed through STEM. We say STEM, but I say STEAM because we add the A, because the arts are such an integral part that ties us together as a civilization. And throughout this journey, unbeknownst to me, I've been chasing space all my life. I didn't even know it. And I think about what set this course on this path was when John F. Kennedy petitioned Congress for money to send a man to the moon and back safely. And this was May of 1961. Basically a month after Yuri Gagarin, April 12th, orbited the Earth before us. And I was talking to a young girl the other day who sent me an email from her father's email. She said, "Mr. Melvin, if there had been no Jim Crow laws or segregation in the 50s and 60s, would we have beat the Russians to orbit the Earth?" And I said, "Wow." She said, "Well, can you ask Katherine Johnson then?" So today, I had a chance to talk to Katherine. And she said, "Well, I don't know." You know, she doesn't say it like that. And then she said, "But possibly, if we could have had more brilliant minds working on the problem, we could have come up with that solution earlier." I think about us sending a man to the moon, but the language needs to be, we send humans to the moon, because we have to make sure that we don't alienate young girls who want to be astronauts going to the moon one day. So the language that we use is so critical to make sure that everyone's included in the meetings, in the discussions, that people are no longer hidden. And at that same time, in May of 1961, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was in the Deep South helping console the Freedom Riders who were getting bombed. And so this point in time, May of 1961, there were so many things going on. The most technologically advanced things about to happen, and then us trying to get our civil rights straight in our country. And then, I wasn't born yet. I was born in 1964. So when I think about this picture, September of 1961, it's my parents, Deems and Grace Melvin, on the left and in the middle. And I call this my pre-me picture because they were thinking about starting a family. And this was in Virginia Beach. They were both middle school teachers in Lynchburg, Virginia. And they were thinking about how their family going to be raised, how they're going to be educated, what are they going to be doing, what are they going to be one day. And then this thing happened. Mid-60s, Lieutenant Uhura on the Starship Enterprise is the first African-American woman on television who was in a leadership role. And I think about what she did to inspire young girls and young boys to be astronauts. One of those was Dr. Ronald McNair, who was sitting beside his brother watching the show, saying, "If there are women like that in space, I want to do it." But Michelle Nichols was going to quit the show, and she went to an NAACP meeting that weekend and she tendered a resignation. And this gentleman told her that her #1 fan was right around the corner. She walked around the corner, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was looking with these big eyes at Michelle Nichols walking up. And He knew she was going to quit the show. He said, "You cannot quit the show. You were doing, and Gene and you were doing what I'm trying to do with the civil rights movement right now. And this is the first time that there was an interracial kiss on television in the 60s. The first time that there was an intergalactic kiss when he kissed the green woman, right? So this was groundbreaking stuff. And it was preparing the people here at Langley to envision a society working together as one civilization to help change the universe. And so I'm born around this time. I'm in mid-60s. And then one small step for human, one giant leap for humankind took place in 1969, and I was 5 years old. And I think about this because people ask me, did you always want to be an astronaut? I'm like, no. Because I didn't see anyone like me up there. So I wanted to be, well, before I wanted to be, we were always doing artwork, wearing my mother out, okay? So my sister and I drawing and painting and doing things. And I can barely be seen, you know. But I wanted to be Arthur Ashe. Because Arthur Ashe trained in Lynchburg, Virginia, where I was born, about 5 blocks down the street from where we lived. And my dad always talked about the character that he had, the work ethic that he had, the intelligence that he had. He was a good person. And I wanted to be like him. And then, so I played tennis all the time. Then my mother read to me every night, the little bit I could. I think I can, I think I can. And then my curiosity came from Curious George. I was always getting in trouble, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. So this was part of my journey. And then it was when I got this age inappropriate, non-OSHA certified chemistry set when I created the most incredible explosion in my mother's living room and burned a hole in her carpet. That one moment told me that I could be a scientist. I didn't have the goggles of the lab coat, but I created this energetic thing with these 2 dissimilar chemicals. Now, she definitely had a hand in my development, too. But I was transformed. My brain was activated to do this thing called science. And this was like a 3-hour trip down the road from Langley in Lynchburg, Virginia. And then I played football, I played basketball, I got a scholarship to the University of Richmond. I dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone my senior year in high school, playing against Russburg High School. And I walked to the sideline, and my coach grabbed me by the face mask, looked me in the eyes, and he said, "I believe in you. Get back out there and catch the ball again." So I'm lined up on the sideline, I'm running down the sideline, the crowd is screaming, running down the sideline, y'all scream crowd. The ball is coming into my hands, and I catch this ball, and we win the game. And unbeknownst to me, there was a college scout from the University of Richmond. They were watching to see if I could play. He watched me drop the pass the first time. He heard the crowd screaming the second time. He saw me in the end zone, like doing something like this. And he said, maybe this guy can play for us after he failed in such a horrific way. His friends were there from college. His family was there. He went to the sideline. His coach believed in him. And I think about all the people in this community that have believed in me through the research that we did in fiber optics, through all the things we've done to help advance our civilization. That's what legacy is about. That's what a journey, this 100-year journey is about. Helping people, inspiring people, motivating that next generation of explorers. So I went to the University of Richmond on a football scholarship. My first year we were 0-10. It's like, oh my goodness. We didn't win a game. 3-8 second year, 85 in the playoffs, and we ended up doing really well. So I ended up getting drafted into the NFL with the Detroit Lions. Okay, they cut me, so there's no allegiance there. Went to Detroit, pulled a hamstring in training camp. That was pretty much the end of my career. Played with Dallas for a little while. They cut me too. No allegiance.
And before starting Dallas, I went to the University of Virginia to start working on a master's program in material science engineering.
The Wahoos!
So this professor believed that I could do both. I could play professional football and study material science engineering. And it was a good thing because I pulled my hamstring with Danny White while Coach Leland was walking on the field, and that was the end of my football career. But I had this education to fall back on. And